Part 3, Sacred Knowledge. Since time immemorial, people function on the basis of their beliefs, memories, experiences, and knowledge that they apply in their daily lives. The very beginnings of the human race functioned in a way where the leaders of that, say, tribe decided which information or so-called knowledge would be passed on to descendants, entrusting themselves or some persons of their choice. Of course, this knowledge was most often the knowledge that these leaders received from their ancestors and where it was just a question of how it would be corrected and passed on. With the development of the human race, divisions were an integral part of every social arrangement, from slave to feudal, so only the wealthier stratum of society had the opportunity to be educated in ways that the poorer stratum could not even imagine. That's how we got more or less recognized scientists, doctors, teachers, priests, politicians, and other people from different professions. Education was mainly the status of the privileged, that is, the more affluent, while the rest waited for some more fortunate moments to go to an institution that dealt with education. Well, now the question is, was that poorer class of people on the planet really lucky when they were given the opportunity to be educated according to the idea of the human education system? According to people's perception, the answer is yes, because it was considered that by completing some elementary, secondary, or higher school, a person has much better opportunities to achieve himself primarily in the material field, and provide a more secure existence for himself and his family. To some extent, this was true in most cases. According to spiritual energies, seeing such a situation is the complete opposite. They say that by entering the educational world of human ignorance, the human race began to lose contact with nature, with the cosmos, that is, with sources of true knowledge that can only be obtained from spiritual energies, which is called sacred knowledge. What is sacred knowledge? It is information, directions and knowledge of the cosmos that serve exclusively for the benefit of all living beings and the entire planet, unlike human, knowledge that is full of limitations and shortcomings in the service of the interests of certain interest groups on the planet. Human knowledge represents exclusively corrected human ignorance with the help of sacred knowledge, is the shortest possible definition of awareness of these two sources of knowledge or ignorance. Human ignorance is a consequence of human thinking, analyses, experiences, calculations that have never brought benefit to everyone. If you don't believe it, look at today's planet, with all the pollution and problems on it, and ask yourself the question, who created the many creations and pollutants on the planet, those without, with elementary or those with higher education? Who started all the wars on the planet with billions of victims to this day, those without, with elementary or those with higher education? Who made all the rules and laws that created huge divisions and bigotry around the planet, those without, with elementary or those with higher education? Who created all the biggest projects of depopulation, genocide or destruction towards living beings, those without, with elementary or those with higher education? We can list examples like this endlessly, but we hope that you understood the point of these listed examples. Then how to get to sacred knowledge? There are several possibilities, the first and most important of which is an incentive for all people on the planet, which is the correct spiritual path, reaching a low frequency of brain waves, establishing contact with different spiritual energies that function at low frequencies, and the transmission of sacred knowledge precisely from these intelligent or superintelligent energies of the cosmos. That sacred knowledge is, on the other side of the barrier or the curtain, that science with all the existing technology will never be able to reach. It can be obtained exclusively through the correct spiritual path when reaching certain highly spiritual levels, most often through meditations, which are again a creation of spiritual energies. Maybe all of this looks complicated, but after reading and listening to the instructions several times, we are sure that you will understand all the parts of this story. Some other way of getting these sayings can be if you read some books that talk about sacred knowledge, which were transmitted to some highly developed spiritual persons. We will take as an example Ljubisa Stojanovic, 1935 to 2014, the founder of energetic spiritual medicine, officially recognized in Serbia in 2007, after numerous clinical tests of all his products obtained by spiritual energies. He transmitted the sacred knowledge of spiritual energies in over 15 books with the following titles: Nodding, Bioenergy, Laws of Bioenergy, Sacred Knowledge of the Cosmos, Knowledge from the Beyond, Man's Origin and Future, Places of Power, Origin and Development of the Cosmos, Aura, Conversations with Tesla, Healing, Enlightenment, Culture of Energetic Way of Life, Spirituality of Ancient Civilizations and others. And the third way is to attend various workshops and seminars where they talk about sacred knowledge. All in all, this is just a fraction of the information about sacred knowledge that people need as a guide for many important decisions and choices in life, the most important of which is with a question. Would I use in my life human ignorance full of limitations and divisions, or sacred knowledge that will help me correct human ignorance, for the benefit of all living beings and the whole planet? The Treasury of Sacred Knowledge thanks you for your interest, and sends you lots of spiritual patience and love.